Welcome to PayNet's Employee Self-Service Kiosk. Employees will receive an email inviting them to register for the Employee Kiosk. If they do not receive an email invitation, please be sure to have them check their spam folders. Then click on the link in the email. They will be directed to the login page for the Employee Self-Service Kiosk. They will click on the button to register an account. Next, they will fill out the information on the registration screen. Please note that your information must match what your employer has on file for you. The company number is provided in the email you received as the company ID. You will type your last name, which must match what your employer has on file. You will then enter the last 4 digits of your social security number. You will type in your home zip code, which must match what your employer has on file. You will need to use the same email address that your invitation was sent to. You will then create a username and a password that you will remember. Password requirements are at least 6 characters long and contains at least 1 digit or 1 special character. Then click on Registration button at the bottom when finished. Upon entering the system, you are brought to the Home module. This area houses check information, information provided by your employer, and access to update your user settings and account. Your most recent check will be highlighted in the listing, and details about the check show in the lower portion of the screen. Each check date, your paycheck information will update, providing you the means to see the details behind the calculation of your check, as well as the option to print the statement and voucher as well. Year, located above the check's listing, will be multiple years based on how much pay history has processed for you in the system. By clicking on a year, the checks paid to you for that year will display. Printing a voucher. Click the Run Report button to display a copy of the selected check stub, which can either be saved to your computer or printed. Links and documents. Your employer may provide you with specific websites that you may find useful and documents relevant to your employment. Company links. Each link shown on the screen is an external website you may click on the icon to see. Examples of links provided by an employer might be to look up a doctor who takes your insurance, or to other software applications you may need to use as an employee. Click the icon next to the link to view it. Company documents. Your employer may post change forms, direct deposit forms, employee handbooks, or other employee-relevant information here. Click the icon next to the document to view it. Account settings. At any time, you may update your self-service password and email address if email address was required during registration. Personal. The Personal module allows you to view information your company has stored for you in the payroll system, not all of which affects payroll directly. Here you can view things like your address, pay rates, deductions, taxes, and direct deposits. Some employers will grant access for you to be able to change certain areas of the system. Your changes may be saved immediately, or you may go through an approval process to save the information. Your employer has the ability to allow certain fields and not others. They may also want to approve the changes you make in the system. In that scenario, you will see fields surrounded by an orange border that you can change but will need to be approved, and fields surrounded in blue that you can change without approval. Be sure to save all changes. If your changes need to be approved, a window will display at the top of the screen, letting you know which are pending approval. If you've made a mistake, you can click on the Delete button in the window to stop your request. Fields you've changed and that are pending approval cannot be changed by you again until the approval is made. All pending changes and approved changes can be found in the Changes module. Demographics. This is home to the most basic employee information. Housed here are your legal name, address, contact information, and other personal data. Department and position. The information housed on this screen is primarily used by your employer to track information about the job you are assigned to and who you report to. Emergency contacts. It may be necessary for your employer to contact someone in case you are injured or sick on the job. Your employer may choose to store this information on this tab. Taxes. Anytime you update your W-4, tax elections, your employer will update the payroll system so your most recent elections are displayed here. From this screen, you can pull up a dummy copy of your existing W-4 based on the information that is displayed. To do this, simply click on the Run Report button next to the tax code. If your employer has stored tax changes as history by using begin and end dates, you can see the history by marking the box to include inactive tax records above the tax code listing. Direct deposits. As you change or add bank accounts, your employer will update the payroll system, so your most recent direct deposit accounts and elections are displayed here. If your employer has stored direct deposit changes as history by using begin and end dates, You can see the history by marking the box to include inactive direct deposits above the account's listing. Deductions. The amounts being taken away from your paycheck to cover items such as insurance, loans, and retirement funds will be listed here. You can see the amount being withheld the last time it was taken, the amount withheld year to date, and any goal that may be set to stop the deduction. If your employer has stored deduction changes as history by using begin and end dates, you can see the history by marking the box to include inactive deductions above the deduction code listing. Pay rates. The amount being paid to you either per hour or as a salary can be found on this tab. If you get paid differing amounts based on specific work you do, you may see more than one rate listed. With each one, you can see if the rate is applied when working a specific job or in a specific department. If your employer has stored rate changes as history by using begin and end dates, you can see the history by marking the box next to include inactive rates above the rates listing. Time off history. The screen will display a listing of your accrual time earned, used, and the remaining balance by check date. This listing can be broken down by the actual policy, PTO class, by year, or by entering dates from and to. By clicking on a check date line, further details will open up at the bottom of the screen. Time off balance. Displayed here are your balances of paid time off, such as sick or vacation time, if your employer is tracking that information through the payroll system. On top of seeing your available time off balance, you can see the time used and any probation time earned if you are a new employee and cannot use your balance right away. Time off requests. The employee self-service has functionality that allows you to request time off through the system. To request time off, access the Time Off module. Click on the type of request you would like to make and complete the request in the box that appears. Then click Save to submit your approval. You can stop a request by clicking the Delete button, so long as the request hasn't been acted upon by your employer. If you used an email address during the self-service registration, you will receive an email letting you know if your request was approved or declined. Check history. As your paychecks become available online, they are placed into this area for viewing and for printing stubs, just as you can on the Home Last Check screen. From this screen, you can look at the year-to-date amounts and be able to print a report based on the totals. Located at the right of the checks listing will be multiple years based on how much pay history has processed for you in the system. By selecting a year in the drop-down menu, the checks paid to you for that year will display in the listing and be totaled at the bottom of the page. Printing a voucher. Click the Run Report button next to the specific check date to display a copy of the check stub, which can either be saved to your computer or printed. Printing details. Click the Run Report button under the Totals section to display a compensation detail report, which can either be saved to your computer or printed. Pending and approved changes. This area will not display any data unless your employer elects to allow you to make changes to your personal information as explained earlier in this video. Here you will see all of the requests that you have made for your employers to be able to approve or deny. Tax forms. Your W-2 or 1099 may be issued electronically and made available to you within Employee Self-Service. If available, the screen will appear in the Pay History module, and you'll need to read the disclosure and then click to enroll if you agree. You can withdraw consent at any time. When forms are available to be viewed, the screen will display the selected year's tax form with all box details. You may click the Print Selected Tax Form button to view and print your form. Statements and notifications. If employees would like to register for electronic pay stubs inside of the Employee Self-Service Kiosk instead of printed pay stubs, select Personal. They will then navigate to the Direct Deposit tab. They will then scroll down to where it says Electronic Payroll Statement Enrollment. From there, they can enroll in electronic direct deposit vouchers and receive notifications when pay stubs are available. You can also unenroll at any point if you no longer wish to receive these notifications. Thank you for watching the video, and we hope that you enjoy using your Employee Self-Service Kiosk from PayNet.